Now that I've got 1,400 references in my library and I have filed everything in some sort of group related to health coaching, health education, hypertension, motivational interviewing, and also telehealth, I can search within my library and start to see if I have enough resources to do a proposal. So what I did was I came up to all references and I inserted hypertension in any field, coaching in any field, and trial in any field, because what I'm looking for is some type of outcomes research articles within my 1,400 references. 1,400 is too many to scroll through individually, but when I conducted this search, I found 29 search results that had all of these terms. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and screen the titles and the abstracts and also try to find full text. And actually, if you're looking at the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see that I already started to do this. So the first article, if I click on it, my preview shows up at the bottom window here, and it's the impact of health literacy on desire for participation in healthcare, medical visit communication, and patient-reported outcomes among patients with hypertension. So this is a health literacy intervention, I can tell from the title, not a health coaching intervention. So I'm going to pass on this for now in terms of rating this article. Save it for later. So not going to waste time at the moment looking for the PDF. I'm just going to, again, this is all preliminary research. I just want to see if I can find any trials in here. The next article or next citation says in the title, it's a research protocol. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a rating of just 1 star because I don't want to look at research protocols. I really need to find studies that have already been done. What I can do, the little flag here with the star just tells me come back and look at it later. If the protocol was published in 2014, I may be able to look up the authors and see if the actual study itself has come out or has popped up in search results. So next is the effectiveness of health coaching, home blood pressure monitoring, and home titration in controlling hypertension in low-income patients, which sounds super promising until we see that it's a protocol for a randomized controlled trial. So this one also gets a single star. The first author who published the protocol didn't really show up under the same search terms with randomized controlled trials. So right now I'm kind of out of luck, but I'll keep going. And acceptability and feasibility of DASH for asthma intervention. And so this is an asthma intervention, not a hypertension intervention. So I'm going to go ahead and give that 1 star for now. Next is prevention of pregnancy complications through e-health driven interpregnancy lifestyle interventions, another study protocol. So this also gets a single star. So again, weeding out the study protocols, but next you'll see I have an article that I've given 5 stars because it says a randomized trial to improve patient-centered care and hypertension control in underserved primary care patients. Now, I don't know where these patients are, but I went ahead and right-clicked and I used Find Full Text to find the full text of the article and was able to get the PDF, and you'll see that over here in the paperclip. So this is good news, and I'll go ahead for the moment just to be able to go through my references and keep working to try to create the pile that I want to work from. So I'm not going to worry about reading the article yet. All I know is that, yay, there's a trial somewhere in the world, and if I can find a couple of these, then I can look to see where they are, because coaching is cultural and contextual. And if I can find them that's in a way that's a place that's generalizable to my patient population, I have enough info to write a proposal. So next is telephone-based coaching for chronically ill patients, and this is another study protocol. So we're just going to rate that with a single star. The effects of digital medicines to improve clinical outcomes in patients with uncontrolled hypertension and type 2 diabetes. So this is a maybe. These are patients that have multiple conditions. So I'll give this maybe 3 stars as a maybe, and I will also try to find full text. So we'll see that it's going to search over here in the search window, and hopefully the search will happen quickly. And if the PDF was found, it would show up as with the paperclip, not found. It's on my list of PDFs not found. So I'm going to have to search for it via other means. When they can find the URL, you can link to articles using the URL, or this is a great example of go into the university library and work your way back out. At least now we have the citation. So coming back up to my search results window, I was at the Frias et al. Article here. It's promising. I want to try and find it. Moving on. Patients with poorly controlled type 2 diabetes in Australian general practice. Well, that's diabetes and it's in Australia. So I'm going to move this reference to trash. No offense to the folks in Australia, but I'm still looking at something relevant to the US. Oh, and I'm looking for hypertension. Next up, a pilot study to identify feasibility of an internet-based coaching program. Here's a hint. The way they spell program is not the way we spell it in the US. So I'm going to skip that for now and come back to it later, but I'm guessing probably not tremendously useful. Next, I have low-income patients in Argentina. So another trial that I can move to trash. Eventually, when I do my systematic review, I will be able to use EndNote to help organize my references so I'm not just blindly throwing out studies, but I'm able to start to count how many I got rid of because they didn't meet my geography, they didn't meet my disease of interest, or again, their study protocols, things of that nature. But right now, I'm just aiming for background research. So next is intensity of exposure to patient activation, intervention, patient engagement, and medical visit communication. This is another one. I have no idea. I can't tell from the title, so if I can find full text, that will help. And if I can't find full text, I'll let it sit. And this is also, it looks like a not found. So I'm just going to pass on this one for now and look at physician and patient intervention program and dietary intake. So that also sounds potentially promising. Again, finding full text. So far, there's nothing in some of these titles to tell me to rate it or not rate it. But I did find a PDF, so at least I have something to play with. So you'll see here, I've given 1 star to a study protocol there. This next type of article, lessons learned from a case study. This will potentially report on some background information. I've given it, maybe I'll give it 2 stars here, because when it's a lessons learned, articles typically talk about the design of the study rather than the patient outcomes. So as I continue to go through my little mini search here of hypertension coaching and trial, you'll note that I've got 3 articles that I've given 5 stars to. So my magic number for is it worthy of a review is if I can find at least 3 studies, then that should give me enough if they meet my criteria to be able to write a proposal. And where there are other articles that end up with 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, somewhere in there, those are resource materials that I'll be able to use to write my introduction and my overview. So now that I've got at least a few of these, I'll work my way through the rest of these references and then start to incorporate them into my proposal document itself.